3, 2, 1, go. So, this is Wii Play Tanks. The premise is very simple. Beat all 100 tank levels in one run. However, it is a lot more complicated than that. There are tons of tiny details. Basically, every time you play every mission, it is going to be slightly different every time based on just how tanks works. In any sort of marathon run, I would definitely be having commentators to help here, because this is very hard to solo commentate, but I can try my best. So, basically, Tanks, and hey Bruno, how's it going? Basically, Tanks is a 2.5 dimensional game in Wii Play. It's the best one. Everyone agrees on that. Nobody has ever said otherwise. And it's very, very detailed. So, basically, nice luck on that top right tank, by the way. That's kind of the most RNG heavy one there, just for a tiny sort of few frame optimization. Basically, what we're after is, nice, that was really good. 107, 5 missions, that's really good. Yo, Kinetics, how's it going? Yeah, I'm going to try my best. Yeah, so basically, each tank has a different, slightly different stats, slightly different abilities. This is looking pretty nice. Wow, that was really good RNG. Getting them to go towards the bottom there, really, really good. We're going to compare against PB just for now. But yeah, most of the tanks are just going to fire regular bullets. We are coming across these teal tanks, though. They fire rocket bullets. So we do need to be a little bit more careful of those, because they will come to us double speed. What is this beginning? I know, this is very, very lucky so far. So the luck kind of comes in, but in terms of actually getting a completed run, there are a lot of different strats we can kind of deploy to make sure we can complete it. So those teal tanks actually going down again. So they actually have defensive traits. However, they decided to go down there because a little bit slower. That's fine. Still a pretty good mission 8. No worries, Ken Yoshi. Appreciate the luck. Hope you're doing well. Nice. Still got one of them. Yeah, so, essentially, let's do that. I'm going to need to do a mine here. Oh, no. Never mind. Yellow tank behaving. Very good. Yeah, basically, every tank has different abilities. I am coming up on a pretty good 10 mission run here, though. Wow. 236. That's incredible. Okay. Did not expect that while I'm trying to commentate, but here you go. The tomatoes in our fridge grew mold. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, basically, the mines that the enemy tanks lay down, so the yellow tanks on mission 8 there, they actually acted as like an invisible wall. So even though the teals will always run away from you, they decided not to there just because the mine was in the way. And the teals actually ignore the player mines, but they do take note of the enemy tank mines, because they're always trying to make sure that they don't kind of self-destruct or friendly fire onto another enemy tank. So these red tanks, they have 3 bullets at their disposal. Good thing is we have 5, so we can just outmatch them most of the time. I'm just going to make sure we can survive this. There we go. I'm going to be a little safer here. Yeah, so that red tank not really behaving there, firing a little bit, a couple of preemptive shots. That's fine. Yeah, it's absolutely early days for a run. Really, at the start, what we're after is just as many lives to keep as we can. Yeah, in terms of a kind of a shorter run, like a 20 missions or a 10 missions run, this is pretty good. But yeah, playing a longer run of tanks is a different story, because the later ones actually introduce slightly randomized missions. But even then, we are always going to have the same several tank grades to deal with. We are going to see another one coming up. There are only 2 left to introduce. One of them on... actually, no, 3 to introduce. This is a bad idea. There we go. So there's a slightly safer way of doing that, and that's to go on the right-hand side and just break the wall, but that's okay. Figured I would try and save a little bit of time. Yeah, we have the purple tanks, the white tanks, and the black tanks. So, purple tanks are pretty difficult to deal with. I would explain some of the other stats as we go on, when they kind of become relevant for some of the other tanks. But yeah, basically, purples have the same stats as us. They are also very awkward in their attacks. That was very lucky. I'm very surprised that worked, actually. So, They will be offensive when they need to be. They'll be defensive when they need to be. Whereas you have some tanks like the Greys and the Teals, which are just straight up going to run away whenever they can. Which obviously costs us time because we don't want them to run away. We want them to walk straight into us. So this is actually pretty good. Trying to get a bit of progress on that green tank there because the green tank is static. Green and brown tanks are static. Greens are a lot harder to deal with though. Because they have those rocket bullets. And we're going to see them in full force here. Just going to hang back here. Just make sure we can get a couple of shots off. They only actually have 2 rocket bullets to use. But they can fire once every second. So if they have a good angle on you and they stick with it. That can be pretty deadly. So we do have these 6 tanks here, and these first 20 missions, they are all predetermined. So we always know what to expect. Later on, we will have different kind of layouts coming up. Also some new ones that we're not currently seeing. But it'll always be slightly different. You're never going to have the same tanks run twice in a row. But even then, every kind of RNG element is really just a few seconds lost maximum, really. If you're playing really well. Depending on the layout, depending on the tank grades that come up. And then here we have 8 purple tanks. So we're actually going to fire at the wall. Reason for that is because I actually get bullets back based on how many of my own are on the field. So that's fine. First death of the run. Very good. So basically I have 5 bullets. The moment all 5 of them are on the field at once, then I have no bullets to use. So what we need to do is we can actually fire at the wall sometimes. And by doing that, that will make sure that we actually get our bullets back pretty quickly. Now that mine is actually in the way here for the purple tank, which is fantastic. Purple tank laying its own trap there, kind of an invisible wall. They actually won't shoot their own mines to get rid of them. That is something you can do, but it is something that none of the CPU tanks will ever do. Not deliberately anyway. 704 is a fantastic start. Barely ever getting any sub-7s in 20 missions, so that's very good. And we're moving on now to the randomized mission. So we did just skip past those white tanks. Very good start. So the white tanks turn invisible, but you can see their tracks. So they look pretty difficult to deal with, but once you're familiar with them, they are pretty nice. They are definitely one of the nicer hard tanks to come up. But yeah, essentially at this point now, we have a pool of layouts that can come up. So that's fine. Yep, okay. So essentially the pool of layouts depends on the mission number. So every mission number there is going to be a set pool of layouts that can come up. And we're just going to finish off this brown tank as well. So this is a bit of a slow layout, but again, slow can be good. Slow is going to be slightly safer at this point. And again, getting 3 teals here might become a bit of an issue. We can just pick that one off at the beginning. Nice start there, though. Nice, very good. Yeah, so the red tanks are pretty nice to get in these randomized missions. Oh, nice dodge. Very good. Yeah, so essentially, we're after greys and teals. We want to just pick them off at the start whenever we can. And the reds are pretty much always going to run into us because they are quite offensive tanks. There we go, just go through this wall. Okay, take a little bit of a shortcut. I am actually going to lay a mine here just in case the tank decides to not play ball. That actually ended up saving time. So the teals completely ignore those, completely ignore the mines. So they will actually just walk straight into them sometimes. That is a mines only strat. That is a very obscure tanks run where you're only allowed to use mines and it's an incredibly difficult run. But sometimes you can employ some of those strats here. And we're unfortunately going to have to go around here. So this is a predetermined layout. So some of these, even past mission 20, we are going to be seeing the same... Oh, we're going to be seeing new layouts. So every multiple of 5 for most of the run is going to be either a new layout or it's going to be from a very small pool of layouts. But every multiple of 10, very good mission. Every multiple of 10 will always be... not only the same layout, but it will also be the same grade of tanks. So that layout was fixed there. But we do actually have... is this going to get any kills? Not quite. So both my bullets actually colliding with themselves there which is not helpful. These tanks actually not firing, though, and that is, again, because of the friendly fire mechanic. They don't want to hit each other, so they are just kind of chilling. They're not hitting each other, but they're also not hitting me in the process. And yo, Arrow, how's it going? So yeah, again, if anyone has any questions about the run, then do let me know. I'm hoping that yellow tank lays a mine soon, so it kind of traps the teal in. There we go. There was a mine there, actually. I didn't realise. So some of this can be sort of audio cues. You can kind of listen out. Yo, GG's on that huge run, by the way, Arrow. Sub 240, 10 missions. That is just incredible. At that point, you kind of either need to play perfectly, or you need to play very well with perfect RNG. So that is incredible. GG's on that. So yeah, again, if my own bullets aren't sprayed correctly onto the wall, then that is going to be a bit difficult, because by the time they rebound, they're going to collide with each other, and they are unfortunately not going to hit any other enemy tanks. So yeah, as I was saying, on some of these missions, we are seeing randomized tank colors. That is another thing that is based on parameters. So each tank grade on each mission basically has a set number of tanks. So we can't get, like, every white tank or every green tank. That's very unlikely. It can happen, and it has happened on some missions, but it's incredibly unlikely. And even if it does, then it's still just going to be kind of an awkward mission once in a while kind of thing. It's nothing too major. And if anything, it kind of makes it more impressive when we can deal with it. The good thing is, because we've got so many lives early on in this run, we are kind of able to use those to our advantage. We want to have that, really. So in the course of an entire run, we have 22 lives to play with, which is fantastic. Some of the missions later on will kind of make us bleed lives a little bit more, depending on the layout. But it's really, really good to have this many at this point. Got really lucky on Tanks 5, and then Mission 8 was surprisingly nice. Yeah, 8 is very pivotal in that run. You probably know. Oh, that's unfortunate. Red Tank, unfortunately, not playing ball there. Ah, that's a shame. So I literally was pressing B as soon as I set that mine off, trying to save a tiny bit of time. That's fine. So we're going to go around this side this time, just to try and pick off this red tank. There we go. And we're going to get these as well. Even then, with that death, it's still not too bad, because it was a fairly fast layout, and also only costing 8.5 seconds for a death. So that's pretty nice. Something to watch out for on this layout, though. What we can actually have is... Oh, hold on. Let's just play a little safer here. Yeah, so what we can actually end up with... Let's go this way. So again, the teal tank is going to try and avoid us wherever possible. There we go. Nice. So what we can have is that the tank positions will always be the same. So we can kind of preempt those a little bit. And by the way, for some reason, that brown tank at the top on mission 35 is always a brown tank. I have no idea why, but for some reason, that is a thing. Very lucky randomization, though. Yellow's just kind of running at you. They're geniuses when it comes to mines, but bullets, they are completely clueless. So they will just straight up run into them a lot of the time. So here I'm going to do a couple of shots onto the walls. Going to make sure we can take out this brown tank as well, because otherwise that is going to cost us a bit of time later on. There we go. Red tank, unfortunately, dodging there. That's fine. Yeah, so the browns, on like 4 or 5 missions in the mission 30 range, you actually have a guaranteed brown tank for some reason. Again, have no idea why, but that is a thing. I'm going to have to hit a couple more bullets down there on the brown tank. And we're going to put an extra mine here, just to make sure I have a backup to take out this teal here. There we go. If you don't get too close to teals, they won't be able to hit you, as long as you're constantly running. So this way, we're actually going to still take this shortcut, even though there's a brown tank there. I should still be able to get that one. This should be okay. Lots of brown tanks here. So I'm actually going to take that one out there. That is faster than going the bottom path. And the red tank actually moving the brown tank out of the way there. So although browns and greens are static, they can be moved. Not only by the enemy tanks, but me if I wanted to. So yeah, as I was saying, the tank positions are completely predetermined. You always know where they are going to be each time, which is a good thing. We kind of know what to expect. And there is actually a tanks lookup tool. If you want to kind of complete tanks for the first time, it's very useful.
You can look up any mission number and the layout pool you can get, as well as any of the actual tank grade randomization you can get as well, which is really, really useful to know for a first playthrough. We have taken out that white tank there and the purple on the 1v1 box, so that is a pretty good start to this mission. Unfortunately, we are going to have to reset everything, all the obstacles reset. Good thing is this white tank is kind of chilling here, so it might make that green tank a little bit easier, and it did. And the yellow tank there just boxing itself in. Pretty nice. Yeah, tank brains have 2 modes, on or off, so true. Got like 3 browns on a mission, yeah, that can happen sometimes. Depends how lucky you get it. So in the course of the entire run, we're going to have to face 540 tanks, and you might notice we're now facing 5 tanks per mission rather than 4. And later on, we're going to be seeing 8. So this does get pretty hectic. Thankfully, all the tanks that have died do stay dead. There we go. Just making sure I don't get too close to that mine, because it will also detonate if we get within 2 tiles, I believe. And that counts for my own mines as well, not just enemy mines. Gotta be watching out for those self-destructs. Because they are absolutely possible. Okay, what we're going to try and do, a bit of an impromptu strat. We're going to try and take this one out here, and we're going to just outmash that teal tank before it can hit us. Get it through the wall. And again, 2.5 dimensional, even though those walls aren't very tall, you can't really see what's going on completely, so it does make that a little difficult. Now, this is actually a green tank placement from the original. Okay, that's fine. We did take out the green tank, so that's okay. But because that's a placement from the original, I can just use my regular setup of sitting in the middle, hoping that we get that hit. I'm going to just hit this teal tank here. And the purple is going to go up again because of that mine. That's fine. That's another death. Still on 6 lives. Pretty good for this stage. We do want to still keep as many of these as possible, though. So here, I'm just going to try and go through this wall. Just make sure we've got a bit of a backup plan in case the purple tank doesn't play ball. And it's not playing ball. There we go. Took a little while, but yeah, sometimes those purple tanks can be a bit of a time waste. Bit of a slow layout here, that's okay. We are going to just go up to the top here just to take out that purple. Yellow has boxed itself in. Hopefully by the time I can get down here, we should be fine to take it out. Green tank, very lucky. We didn't actually get the green tank firing at us because it didn't find an angle. And that is, hopefully, we're not quite done. There we go. Yo, Frog, how's it going? So we're coming up to 50, and 50 actually does introduce a brand new tank grade, so we're going to get there soon. For now, though, we again have another new layout with randomized tank grades. So we're going to need to make sure we take out this green. Trying to ration the bullets a little bit on this mission because you want to take them all out. Technically, you can really take them all out at the beginning if you get very lucky. But at the same time, you want to be saving at least 1 bullet, really, for your own defense. But yeah, pretty good. Back up to 7 lives. And moving on, we are going to see a few more of these layouts. And the layout pool has actually changed now. So you do get occasional layout pool changes. And this is, in my opinion, one of the hardest ones in the Tanks 100 full playthrough. So while this is a pretty nice mission on mission 10, that is only because the red tanks just run straight into you and you can just outmash them. Because as I mentioned earlier, they only have 3 bullets and you have 5. Whereas also they have no mines and you have 2 of them. That's unfortunate. Did we actually take out that yellow tank there? I was kind of focused on the yellow tank a bit too much, trying to take that out early. That's okay. We'll just spray this wall, hopefully take out that white tank. There we go. And I'm going to cut the corner as well. So we can break these stone walls, but we cannot break the wooden ones. So you do have to watch out for that. And the green tank actually might have got pushed there. That might have been why I didn't get that hit. That's okay. Again, tons of stuff that you're not really fully expecting a lot of the time. You've got to just watch out for that stuff. There we go. And I'm hoping one of those bullets is going to hit. There we go. And these red tanks might become a bit of a pain. We're going to just spray the wall, see if we can get a hit. Not quite. We're going to outmash that one there. And again, both those bullets
hitting the wall, so that's okay. Not coming back towards me. Do you think that white tank Chan is waiting for black tank senpai to notice her? That is a completely real chat message. Okay. I don't know if I have the answer to that one. I'm going to be honest. But anyway, moving on. We are finishing up mission 49. Just the yellow tank remaining. Hopefully a mine there. That's okay. And mission 50. This is a clone of mission 5, but with black tanks. So the black tank rockets are actually slightly faster, I believe. But not just that. The black tanks are very intelligent. Well, I say that and then it gets stun locked. We're going to get to that. But yeah, they technically have the highest intelligence. They are always thinking. They're always retargeting based on mines, based on bullets, based on everything. They are very difficult to deal with. Fortunately, there we go. Very good. Lots of stationary tanks here. And nice because the brown tank is actually kind of in the way of the green taking any shots there, which is good. True questions to answer during a run commentary. Exactly. But yeah, the black tanks actually, because they think and retarget so frequently, they actually kind of stun lock themselves. So they end up suffering from success in a way. And yeah, again, as you can see here, kind of getting stun locked, not really able to move. They do lay mines and sometimes they are really hard to 1v1. But generally speaking, you want to just get them in the stun lock position. So again, I just want to try and get an early hit here. Not quite happening. Red is going to approach us though, thankfully. It's not quite like 1v1ing a grey tank on this mission. There we go. So we're going to keep seeing 5 tanks. Again, the layout pool is slightly changing, so we do want to be aware of that. And then also, we are going to be facing 6 tanks per mission very soon. So I'm just going to dodge out of the way of that bullet. Just going to break a single wall here, try and get an early hit. There we go, very good. And hopefully that grey goes. Unfortunately not. Greys only have 1 bullet, but they will often fire as soon as they see you. So yeah, again there. Had I not fired straight away, that would have been a death. So I'm just going to get a couple of hits in on this green tank, because as long as I do, say, 3 shots on a green tank, that should be enough to take them out. Unless they kind of get heavily defended by the other tanks. And then mission 55. This is another new layout. So this is interesting to see purple and red at the bottom here. So red is going to come straight towards us. Purple's going to run away a bit more. Good thing is we can just take it out there. And now we've taken out those bottom ones. Nice lucky hit on the teal. We kind of have full reign over the entire top here. They often won't go through that gap there with the holes. So the holes are pretty much just as if there was a wall there, but you can see through the wall. And that's pretty much all that means. Just going to spray, see if we can get some other tanks. Not quite getting the black tank, that's okay. But yeah, essentially that layout is quite nice for safety. They're still managing to get through there. And as long as I outmash that black tank, we should be okay. Teal tank is just going to chill up there. I'm hoping we can just pick it off. It's not quite happening. That's okay, it's going to just go around this way. Good luck on the rest of the run. No worries, keep fangies, enjoy food. Yeah, we'll be here when you get back, hopefully. So yeah, those teal tanks are pretty much always going to fire exactly where we are. They have pretty good aim, and for that, they are actually easier to deal with. Some of the tanks have kind of sporadic aim, and that actually makes them harder, because we don't really have as much predictability to go with. Yeah, the wood doesn't get damaged. Yeah, exactly. It's very strange logic, but there you go. It's Nintendo, what can you say? So taking out a couple of these. Again, yellow tanks creating some walls. I'm hoping for another one here. Not quite happening, that's okay. Good thing is there are some walls going on that side, and that is definitely going to turn around the other way. Never mind, it's not going to turn the other way. It's just going to go straight into the mine. And I believe that's the first one, at least that I've noticed, that is an SD to a mine in this entire run, and it is a black tank. That is truly the black tank experience. Sometimes that just happens. So again, while I'm kind of waiting to get into a good position on the purple tank, just fire off a couple of bullets that might hit. Not necessarily that will hit, because none of them actually did there, but even tiny little things like that, if you can dedicate a couple of bullets to maybe hitting, that is where your time save lies. And really nice hit on the black tank there. Almost getting... Did get a rebound with the other one. Almost got on with that first one. Yo, Rain, how's it going? Black tank trying not to stun lock challenge. Exactly. That is basically what it boils down to. Later on, we can actually have 2 or 3 of them, and actually on mission 100, we will have 4 of them to deal with. So that is when they will really shine. But again, that is a predetermined mission, completely predetermined. So it's a little bit nicer to sort of predict what you're expecting. And the best thing about that mission 100 is that it is one of the few layouts in this game that is actually fixed to only appear on specific numbers. It can't appear on randomized missions. And that applies to a few of them. So, for example, that open layout on mission 20, we will not see that again. But similarly, just watching out for this red tank. There we go, good. That's fine. Yeah, so similarly with mission 1, we will only see the mission 1 layout on mission 1 and mission 100. It just feels like you're going full circle. It's really cool. It's really cool game design, honestly. And some of these later layouts we're going to see also is peak game design, in my opinion. It's really, really cool how they designed some of these. So I'm just going to take out this mine before we get to this yellow tank. There we go. Almost getting taken out by a yellow. That's okay. Taking this a little bit slower here as we move on to these 6 tank layouts. I'm going to try and get a rebound shot onto this green. It might end up stinging me, but that is okay. We managed to get through. Very good rebound there. Very good. That was actually a very hard angle to reach that red from there. And that purple's going to retarget because of that mine. Very good. So this is comparing against the gold, so this would have been very hard to top this one. It's not just the fact that I'm playing a little bit slower, it's also the fact that I'm needing to get good layouts and generation to beat the golds, really. But again, every death is plus 8.5 seconds, but this is still a really solid run so far. And then mission 65, another new layout. So we're seeing this box layout. Now, this is a pretty interesting one. I'm just going to wait for this red to come around here, possibly get that hit. We actually only have the black tank remaining. We don't even need to pop out for that, that wall the other side. There we go. Pretty nice. Pretty nice mission 65. So, yeah, that box, you kind of have to break yourself out. I do kind of like the fact that you can play safe. You can stay in the box until all of the outside tanks are gone. Of course, you could end up with a random generation where you have a yellow tank. If that does happen, then that does make that a bit harder. There we go, and I'm just going to fire around this corner because they are not going to be firing at me around the corner because the black tanks do not have any rebounds. Just going to try and pick it off. It's not quite happening. There we go. Bit lucky there, but that's what we need. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a safe strat. We're just going to go through the wall here. There we go. Didn't actually lose a whole lot of time to do that compared to doing a rebound shot on the wall. I kind of decided to do that because the layout was already kind of open compared to what we would normally expect on that same layout on mission 16, I believe it is. Normally, it will be a lot more closed in with a lot more stone walls there. But that wasn't the case. So I decided to play a little bit safer. And again, just making sure I'm firing at least some bullets some of the time. You might think it's a little bit risky. It can be. But obviously, it's giving us a bit of a chance of maybe getting some hits sometimes. So I'm going to put a mine. I'm actually going to go top path here. Put a mine there. It's going to make it a little bit easier maybe to take this white tank out because it's going to retarget and it's going to go up there. That actually did help because had I not done that, it may have gone down. Very likely to have gone down from there. So teal and grey right at the beginning. I'm going to try my best to pick off the teal. Slightly harder to deal with. Not quite happening. Going to have to watch out for that later on. I'm going to break that wall just to preempt needing to use that later on. Here we are. Needing to use it right now. Not quite getting that hit on the teal tank. That's okay. I'm just going to focus up for a little bit here just to make sure we can get this one. So hopefully this time, if I go down, we should end up. Not quite. Teal Tank's still playing pretty defensively. Finally got it. There we go. And we actually got a lucky rebound on the black tank. But that's what you need sometimes. Eventually, if you fire enough bullets around a corner, you will end up hitting every tank. As long as it's not a static one. There we go. Fantastic. Nice hit on the purple as well. Wasn't really expecting that purple to go. Just kind of expecting a couple of hits there, possibly. Just going to fire a bullet there. Not quite happening. Just going to have to outmash here. There we go. Nice. And the teal tank all the way in the other corner. This is going to take a little while to take out. There we go. Still saving a little bit of time doing an early shot there rather than having to go all the way onto the other side. And Mission 70, another new layout. This is the maze layout. This is probably the slowest one in the game. Or definitely the slowest one in the game. But the good thing with this is, again, slow does mean safer in Tanks 100. So that is a good thing. Mine being laid there by the white tank, so we could play a little safer. I'm going to just spray this black tank, take it out, hopefully. There we go. I'm actually going to be planting these mines as we go, because the black tanks do very often run into them, as we've already seen in this run. And not just black tanks, but just any tanks. Pretty much, you're going to get an average of about 1 self-destruct by a tank per Tanks 100. So, you do want to be doing this sometimes. Not quite getting the hit there. There we go. There's the hit. Yo, welcome back, Fanatics. We are back to 8 lives. This is pretty good. So, Mission 71. We're back to these random ones. And we are coming up very soon to the 7 tank layouts. So, again, going to try and multitask. At this point, that is key. If you're going to try and save time on these later missions, you need to be multitasking. You need to be hitting more than 1 tank at once. And again, I'm just going to plant a mine there, hopefully. Taking out the purple tank at the exact same time as the as my own. That's okay. And the yellow here is in a fine spot. That's okay. Nice mine. Actually making it change to my direction. That's pretty good. So 72. Yellow tank is more likely to approach. I'm going to go for that. Didn't quite happen. None of them approached, actually. There we go. And I'm going to put a mine there. I'm actually not going to go straight for it, though. Just because it's easier to fire around the wall. There we go. Just see if we can pick off this one. Not quite happening. Let's try and outmash. Again, not happening. That's okay. Oh, this could be a bit difficult. So, only 2 of my bullets coming back there. There we go. So, the spray was actually too good because none of my own bullets collided with each other. Actually, would have been better to make them do that in that scenario. I'm just going to keep on picking off a couple of bullets. Basically, a bullet in the same spot every time because they were so grouped together. Just ended up picking off one after the other really quickly. Very good mission. And then mission 74. I'm going to try and fire a couple of bullets around the corner, see if we can get something. Almost getting the purple. Very surprising. They are not normally the ones to do that. But almost working out. Pretty nice. And again, these reds and purples work really well together in synergy. In terms of being harder to deal with. They are naturally... I'm just going to put a mine there. It's going to make the purple tank stay there. Or it's going to make it move down. One of the two. There we go. But yeah, the purples and the reds have 3 bullets each, so even if you're facing against 2 of them, not only are they going to be in different positions each time, they're also going to be... This could be hard to deal with. Thank you for cooperating. That could have been nasty. That's fine, though. Again, still not taking out that other green tank just yet. There we go. Nice. And the red tank should be fine. So this is a very small layout, Paul. 75 is a reused mission. Getting a green tank in the middle there is pretty unlucky as well, but that's fine. We're getting through first try. Okay, this is our first proper difficult appearance of Mission 10 layout. Here we go. Decided to not go bottom left. I would have tried to go bottom left, take out that teal tank. A lot of the time, the teal can just instantly hit you. You pretty much need to be frame perfect if you want to get hit on the teal there. So, thankfully, managing to actually get a bullet into the corner and get it to hit, which is, yeah, pretty lucky, but it's fine. That's what we need. So the grey tank probably not going to play ball, just going to put a couple of bullets in the other corner just to take it out. I'm going to take this shortcut, might be a bit risky, but we'll see if we can get that green tank. There we go. And we're just going to fire at the corner. That's not quite happening. We're just going to go the long way. This is going to be a little safer. There we go. Very good. So that bullet actually barely at the bottom, so it was able to hit, but the black tank is facing me and not the bullet. So it's not going to be able to defend that. And this purple tank, we're actually going to go up there. So that means that the tank, and I've kind of been doing this as we've been going on. But basically, if I'm not there, the tank is not going to defend itself from the bullets because while I'm not there, it's most likely not going to shoot. It's not in the tank AI to shoot any bullets or mines deliberately, really. It just kind of lets them be. It's always kind of targeting you. And even in Tanks Co-op, which is another run you can do, which I do 1p2c of, actually. Sometimes do it as a marathon incentive. That was pretty fortunate the black tank didn't fire there. Probably because the teal was directly opposite. They didn't want to end up clashing. But yeah, in Tanks Co-op, you can also end up with them doing funky targeting and sort of targeting one player tank or the other. And kind of looking at the AI in Tanks Co-op kind of makes you realize why they kind of stuck with a simple AI for this, as in it will just target you and that's it. Because in there, it will literally sometimes face you, but it won't even target you like, for example, you've got a blue tank and a red tank as the player 1 and player 2 tanks, but it will, like, face blue sometimes, but it will actually want to target red, so it just won't fire any bullets. It's really funny. But yeah, moving on to mission 81. This is now 7 tanks to deal with, so we are going to be trying to multitask even more so now, because you might think it's risky, but the more tanks you can take out early before there's a bunch of chaos going on, like these 2 mines in pretty bad spots, the more we can take out early, the less we have to deal with later when it gets a lot harder. That's unfortunately not getting the hit. I'm going to try and take advantage of that mine. There we go. Just going to poke through that wall. There we go. Very good. So we have 9 lives left for 19 missions. So that grey tank firing its bullet pretty early. That means we are kind of able to take it out with no real threat to us because they only have 1 bullet. As soon... Oh, that was a very close defense. That is why I don't really go for those too often. We want to be playing safer defenses than that, really. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, as soon as the grey tank fires that bullet, same with brown tanks, same with the other tanks. For example, yellows only have one bullet as well. You know that bullet is going to be out of action for a while. And another thing I haven't actually mentioned this run, we are playing on 4x3. This game is a widescreen game. This was kind of in the Wii era, so you can play a lot of Wii games, or basically every Wii series game, I know for sure, on 4x3 or 16:9. So there is an actual difference, and this is one of the few Wii games where there is a direct difference in the speedrun based on your aspect ratio. We are playing on 4x3 because the tank's field of play is reduced dramatically. So the stats aren't actually changed. So although the field of play is reduced by a huge margin, normally it's extended on 16:9, or I guess rather squished on 4x3. Pretty much it means that the game is harder, in quotations. I'm just going to try and take out this green. I don't actually know where it is because I think it got moved. There you go. It would normally be more centered. But that's fine. Very good. Good impromptu strats there. Again, even if we didn't get that there, the death would have put it back to its regular position. But yeah, 4x3 is significantly faster in all runs. All runs of this game, even full game, where you play all 9 minigames, it is faster, just for tanks. Nothing else really makes a huge difference. Some games are slightly easier or harder on 4x3, but none of them are specifically faster, so to speak. So it is very interesting to have that kind of distinction here. Nice bullet. Playing the long game with that that rebound there. And we are up to 10 lives. This is fantastic. 10 lives for 15 missions. Very good. And this is exactly why we want 10 lives. We do not want to be at this point. But thankfully, again, taking that out there. So that green tank, just making sure I'm aware of where the nozzle is facing, because that is kind of a good way of preempting some of the shots. If the nozzle isn't facing you, it's not going to be able to get a shot off very quickly. And the green nozzle doesn't turn very quickly. So if you're quite far away, then you can kind of sort of predict it a little bit. That's unfortunate. That's okay. So we're just going to have to make our way back up to the top and take out that white tank. So I'm going to do the same. This is the exact same 1v1 as we had earlier. I'm going to put that mine down. We're going to try and bait it to not go towards there. Hopefully we can take it out for that reason. So that tank, that mine, sorry, going off after 10 seconds. And another thing we can do, you can actually self-detonate the mines. So if you are out of mines, and for whatever reason, that was unfortunate, for whatever reason you want to put another one down, you can actually run into your own mine once you're out of its range, and then go back into it again, and then very, very quickly get out of the range. And by doing that, this is going to be a hard one. That's fine. Good. Very good hit there. Almost managed to get a hit on that black tank. Had that have hit the other wall, that would have been a hit. One of those bullets is going through. Nice hit. Very good. I'm going to go this way because all the tanks are down here now. Oh, it's going to be hard to hit this green. There we go. Good rebound. So you can actually self-detonate the mines. And by doing that, you can actually regain a mine before the 10 seconds is up, which is a huge strat in mines only. Again, not really something we need here, but it is something you can do. And it is also something you can do with the enemy mines as well. Just if you're in a bit of a stuck situation, it is a good thing to know, to have under your belt, just on the 0.1% of occasions where you kind of want to get out of a stun lock in a sort of a mine cage, really. Again, very rare that you get that in one of these runs, but it is good to know. So very difficult 1v1 at the beginning here. We have a teal tank right in front of us. We have black tank and white tank coming right towards us. And that is what I'm saying. Taking them out very quickly actually kind of makes your life easier, rather than having to deal with 5 of them at once. Although that's basically what we were doing there anyway. And then mission 90. This is peak game design. This is exactly what I was mentioning earlier. What if we just put some of the worst tank grades, but 8 of them, and on a completely open layout? And not just a completely open layout, but basically worse than that, because you have less control. You can't walk over these holes in the ground. It's so snaky, but it is really funny. We now have 10 missions remaining, and that means 8 tanks per mission. So we're going to just do a precise shot into the corner there. That's fine. Still took out the green and another one of the tanks. Very good start to this mission. So again, going to do the same strat. We're going to fire at the wall, except slightly different angle this time, just to see if we can take out that purple. Taking out that teal, actually. Very good. That's good for time save. Taking out the teals. Much slower tanks than the purples. Barely avoiding that. That's a nice hit on the yellow tank. Yellow tank would have been good to keep around for a little bit longer, though, because they would have kind of trapped them in with mines. We do still have 2 tanks remaining. You can actually tell based on the music. The music actually gets more intense and more instruments are added based on how many tanks there are. and the tank grades as well. Very difficult mission. I am going to focus here because this is going to take a lot of time and concentration. Yeah, very difficult. Lots of things going on at once here. And again, very, very fast mission. That all went very quickly. But that can go sour. Good thing is 8 lives is a really nice cushion to have. Nice, couple of hits there. We're going to just take out this black tank. Going to fire in a few different spots to try and take it out. There we go. Still one in the corner, though. I see you. Yeah, we also do have the display at the bottom, which shows us how many enemy tanks are remaining. Which is really good to know. We have 7 missions remaining. And again, another Mission 10 appearance with a green and a teal in the center. Very, very brutal randomization. So there is something, again, you cannot get completely unlucky, although this is pretty unlucky. What you can have is, what you can't have is you cannot have the same layout twice in a row. That is not possible. There is something in the game that that means that is not a thing that can happen. So that is pretty nice touch to have. So you cannot have the same layout twice in a row. Even though you do still have that layout pool. Not quite happening there. Too good of a spray. Still a good mission though. And we're getting past. Mission 95. So this is another one. Very small layout pool. This is fine. Gonna fire at the top first. Maybe getting a hit actually. Not quite. Oh, didn't actually see that bullet coming back towards me. That's okay. I'm just going to fire at the bottom this time. It'll be a little bit safer. We'll get a couple more of our bullets back. And we actually got more progress. Very good. So instantly, as soon as that attack is done, I'm getting all 5 of my bullets back. That is why that is pretty effective. So that teal is probably not going to play ball. Nice hit. That's really good. That would have taken a lot of time to come back round again. Very good. Nice hit. And the marathon estimate for this is 55 minutes. So this is absolutely fine. Still got 7 lives for 5 missions. And a teal right in my face here. So the teal's in your face at the beginning. While they do have really good aim, at the beginning, their nozzle isn't going to be facing you, most likely. So what you have is you have the tank targeting you, but it's not necessarily facing you. So it actually ends up firing in a seemingly random spot, which kind of makes them hard to predict at the beginning, but as soon as you're done with the beginning of the mission, they are pretty much fine to deal with. Just going to try and do some damage on both sides here. There we go. Teal is staying in because, again, they do take note of enemy mines, but not player mines. So yeah, 55-minute estimate for marathons. So this is still going pretty well. And yeah, really good there to take out that green. So we've been seeing this layout quite a lot as well. This layout's pretty difficult to deal with, especially when you've got tanks that can lay mines. We still have a white tank over here. I do see you. There we go. We're taking it out. And we've got a yellow that is pretty much guaranteed to go up here. Not quite happening. You know what? Let's go through the wall. Let's challenge it. Nice defense. And I'm just going to have to stay here. So the yellow actually getting stuck on its own mine there. It decided to plant a mine in the middle and then go right. And from there, it didn't get completely stuck. They will always prioritize getting out. But it did kind of get a little bit stuck there. And the good thing with that is while the tanks are stuck, if they're really stuck and they're absolutely prioritizing, I need to get out of this mess now, they won't fire. Regardless of where any enemy tanks are. If they are stuck, they will just prioritize moving. Because as soon as you start firing bullets, you actually kind of take a little bit of time to sort of fire the bullet. So if I fire a bullet or plant a mine here, it actually stuns you for just a few frames. And I guess while the enemy tanks want to get out of a sticky situation, they don't want to be firing, because that's going to be precious frames to escape. Just going to try and sneak a few shots through the middle. Not quite happening. That's okay. It's always worth a shot. Even though it's going to take a few frames to do that, it's always worth it. And then the final mission here. We're back to the mission 1 layout. We have 2 browns, 4 blacks, and a white and a green. So we're just going to do some sprays at the beginning, see if we can take out that green at the start. Usually, me trying to take out the green just ends up with me hitting a black tank, and that has now happened twice. And there's the white tank gone, and the mine actually kind of in the way. Time is coming up on the final tank hit, when the display says 540. There we go, that is it, that's time. 50-35. Very good. That is solid. We got some very unlucky generations in there. 47 of those were black tanks as well, so almost 10% of them. But that is a clear. Yes, that is Wii Play Tanks. I love this run. This is, honestly, it feels fantastic when you can complete one of these, even if it's nowhere near PB pace. It just feels fantastic to complete one. Thanks to the GG Skip Fangies. Thanks, Frog. Thanks, Theon. Appreciate it. So yeah, if this does happen to get accepted to a marathon, thank you. But yeah, that is basically it. 22 lives you have for 100 missions. It's pretty nice. There are a lot of strats you can use to play safer, and as you can see, that's me playing a little bit safer there. 50-36, well under estimate. So yeah, pretty nice run there, I would say. But I'm still trying to work on strats to kind of push the time down even more. We're currently going for world records, so hopefully you can get that at some point. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Socials in the description. We do runs on Twitch. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.